In this video, we are going to dimension this flat hook here, and our end result should look identical or almost identical to this example. So here is an undimensioned flat hook. And the first thing we want to do is in the Home tab, change our layer to the dimension layer. So your flat hook should be drawn. I'll click on it. You can see in the object layer. I'm going to hit escape, and we are going to dimension in the dimension layer. So we are first going to create a dimension style so that all of our dimensions match our dimension style. And to do that, we're going to go to the Annotate tab, and in the dimension panel, you'll click this little diagonal arrow in the corner. All right, so by default, you have an annotative dimension style and a standard dimension style. I currently have a flat hook in here because that's how I dimensioned this one. However, I'm going to create another flat hook dimension style for this video. So I'm going to click New. The style name is going to be flat hook. And this time I'll just put flat hook 1 because I already have a flat hook, but you can just call it flat hook. And then I want to start with the standard dimension style. And I'm going to use it for all dimensions. You can actually specify what type of dimensions you want to use it for, but I'm going to say all and then continue. Then I'm going to set my parameters for this. So we'll start with primary units. The format is going to be decimal. If you click on this, say you do scientific, you can actually see what it looks like in here, but I'm going to click decimal. And if I look at my example, most all of my dimensions have 0 decimals. So I'm going to click 0. And for this one, that's 65 or 62.5. I'll edit it in the properties so it shows 62.5. However, for the precision, you want to use what the majority of your dimensions look like. And it's just important to know I'm not going to use these down here, but 0 suppression just means that, say I picked 0.0 here, I can click the suppress the trailing 0. So you can see that anything that has a trailing 0 will be suppressed. And if I do leading 0, it will suppress everything that has a leading 0 in front of it because 0.8 and 0.8 are identical. So now that we see that, I can actually uncheck the leading and use trailing. So then this dimension right here will automatically be correct, but you can change this later in your properties as well. Then I'm going to go to fit, and I'm going to keep everything the same here, but you can read through these different options if you need. And text, let's see here. I want all of this the same, but you can play around with this. So you can say aligned with dimension line, and the text will align with these dimension lines right here. But in our example, we want horizontal. And then symbols and arrows, we are going to have a center mark. You can also use lines as well. So these ones have lines. It's where we have this extended line, and a mark is just this little mark without the lines. So I'm going to choose line, and then in the properties, change the marks to center marks, the ones that I want that way. All right, and then let's see here, if you click the lines tab, we'll just keep everything like this for now, and we'll add our first dimension and then modify this again. And once we modify this, it will automatically apply to all dimensions in here. So we'll probably have to modify the text, but let's just see what it looks like. So we're going to click OK. And you can see that the current dimension style is flat hook. If it isn't set as current, you click on this and say set current, and that's the dimension style that will set current. So we're going to click close. And then using our, let's see, make sure your dimension layer is on, and I'll start adding dimensions. So you can use this dimension right here. It basically is a smart dimension. It guesses what you need, or you can go in here and use these dimensions right here. So I'm just going to add one linear dimension here. So I clicked linear and then I'm going to click linear. Oops. Okay. Oh yeah, my dim linear is on because you can see it in the command line down here. And I'm going to, from this point to my center point of this circle, I'm going to hover over the end to wake up the center point and click there. And I'm going to move my dimension over and click again. And there's my first dimension. You can see that you can't see the text because it's way too small. You can't see the arrows because they're small. So we're going to modify our dimension style to fix all of these problems. So we're going to go back to our dimension style, flat hook 1. I'm going to move this over so I can see this. I'm going to click modify. All right, I'm going to go to text. And for text height, you can kind of guess what you need. So this is in millimeters. So from here to here is 180 millimeters. This is like 60 millimeters. I would guess maybe let's do 10, or I'll do maybe 8. All right. And so we have 8 there. And then text placement, we want to offset from the dimension line. So see how the dimension line is basically touching the text. We want to increase that. So you can just use the arrows and you can see now there's a space between the two. And you can just guess so it looks similar to the solution there. Okay, and then you can't see the arrows. So I'm going to go to symbols and arrows. And for the arrow size, we need to increase the arrow size so we can see it. That looks good to me right there. All right, and then let's see here. We need our extension line right here up here. You can see in the example, it goes outside of that. So on lines, where it says extend beyond dim line, we want to increase that. So our extension lines extend farther beyond our dimension lines. Okay, again, this is our dimension lines and these are the extension lines there. All right, and then we are going to click OK and close. And you can see that here, or we have this now, this dimension, we can see it, we can see the arrows, and there's a space between there. All right, and you can see that the text is a little smaller, but that's okay. We just want it to look similar to this. So let's keep adding dimensions. I'm just going to click this dimension so it adds smart dimensions. So we're going to click here and then drag this out. We're going to click this circle here. We're going to click this. Okay, and we'll fix this later, this dimension. We have from this line to this line is 125. All right, we have this radial dimension here. We have this right here. We'll fix that one too in a second. And then we have this dimension here. And I believe I have all of my dimensions added now. All right, and what I noticed is that my center marks are extremely small. So I'm going to go back into my dimension style and modify my dimension style. And under symbols and arrows, I'm going to increase my center mark size. And click OK and close. All right, and okay. I'll see what is going on with these center marks in a second here. Let's start adding or fixing our dimensions, and then we can go back to that. So let's see. Let's start up here. Okay, both of these are good. And then we want to edit this one. So click on here and right click and click properties, and our properties manager will pop up. What's happening here is this is our extension line. So the circle's extension line is the curves right here, and we want to turn that off. So under lines and arrows, extension line, just turn that off. And you can see here is our dimension. And then also we want to go in here and click center mark and add a center mark right there. Escape. There's the lines on it, so click on the center mark and we can actually turn our extension lines off. So next to show extensions, select no. So we just have the mark there. All right, and then let's keep going. So we fixed this one. We have that one, and then let's fix this as well. So we have this point here, and you can see when I move this around, we're having the same problem where it has this extension line. So again, under the click on this one, make sure this is the only one selected. And then under extension line, I'm going to turn that off. All right. And then I will click on the text and move this around. You can see that we're still having problems here. So I'm going to click this again, and under the fit, I'm going to change it to the move text add leader. And now I should be able to escape, move this around properly. So I'm going to move that there. And I'm going to move, maybe it's move text no leader. I'm sorry. So move text no leader will allow this to stay in here. All right. So we have that one. And then let's see here, the R30 is good. The R25 is good, and 125. Something to note is that on here, on the other one, this line is above the dimension. So you can just click on this line, right click, draw order, and bring to front. So then this white line is on top of this line right here. All right, so now we need to fix these center marks here. So I'll go back to my dimension style, modify. Oops, wrong arrow size. Sorry, don't modify that. I'm gonna go to the center mark and make these center marks smaller again. Okay, and you can also see the difference between all of these different things here. So let's just keep it like there and click OK and close. Okay, we can see that now there is, you can see that better. I'm gonna go back, modify, and I'll make this a little bigger, increase that, close. All right, so now you can see that there's a bigger break between each of these. So I'm going to click this, and so I can see the center mark better, I'm just going to move this to the side, just click the endpoint and snap it to the endpoint of that break there. Okay, and then we have the same problem over here, so we can clearly see the center mark. So I'll click this and click that endpoint and move it to the end there, so you can clearly see that center mark. And then, oh, this should just be a mark. It shouldn't be, we should remove the line. So click this center mark here, and in the properties for center mark, we'll change this to just mark. Right, then escape. And now we just need to add the tangents, and I want to extend these center lines up a little bit more. So under dimensions, modify, let's see here. We are going to just extend this a little bit. And actually modify again. And I'm going to make this just a little bigger as well. Close. And now you can see these lines expand outside of here a little bit more. All right. And you can go through and fix this if you want. Now this dimension isn't attached exactly to the endpoint there. Same with this one. Okay, this is just me being picky right now. So now let's move on to adding these little points here with the T's. So you can use the points, but it won't look exactly like the book. What I mean by points is I could go to home, draw, and add these points. So instead, I'm just going to use little circles and fill them with a hatch. So I'll do a circle, and we want it to go right here. And just guess the radius. I'm going to zoom in. We'll just do that size. That looks good to me. And then I'm going to go in and click the hatch. I'm going to select solid, make sure it's the solid fill, and I'll go in and just around the edge, you can click on it, or you can go in and just add it to both halves there. Okay. So click on both halves of that and click close hatch creation. You can see the lines in the way. So I'm going to click on here and right click and go to draw order and bring to front. So it's over the line now. Then I'm going to click on this and go to home and copy. I'm going to copy this from the center point of, right there. And then I'm just going to draw it on all the other areas that require this point here. So right here, right, this endpoint, this endpoint. Endpoint there, okay? And I have all of these points in. And the last step is just to add the T's. So I'm going to go to annotate and add a multi-line text. So just click the A, zoom in, and on this one, it's over here. So I'm going to draw a box. So just click once and then click again, and then add a T there and click close text editor or control enter. It looks like there's no text there, but there is. It's just really small. So I'm going to click once and click again to select this. And you can just see the text height is really small. So I can change that to, let's say 8, enter. Okay, and escape. And now you can see it. That's still kind of large. So I'm going to click it again and change it to 6, enter. Right. And so that is one way to do that. I'm going to go in here and click this left node and move it so it's closer to the point there. And you can just copy this around, but I want to show you another way to change the text height. So another way is you can click this little arrow here for text style, just like dimension style. We're currently using the standard text style, as you can see up here. And you can actually change it here too. So you can say that you want all the text height to be, I think we use 6, apply, close. And so then when I add a new multi-line text and T and then control enter, you can see that it is the correct height because we changed the height in the text styles, which is just clicking this arrow. And you can do new text styles just like dimension styles and everything. And you just select your text style. I just usually use the standard and add what I want to it. Okay, so then this one is, I'm going to move this above like the example. And then I'm just going to go in and use copy command to add the rest of the T's. So I'll just go to home, copy. It says select objects. I'm going to select this T here and click enter. And then it says select base point. So just, you can select anywhere. I guess I'll select this upper edge here. Doesn't matter, or corner. And then we'll add a T, right? Make sure to zoom in. Okay, T there, because what happens is if you don't, it's going to use the object snap and snap to an area that you don't want. So for example, okay, if you don't zoom in, it will. Okay, and then here we'll add it where does that one go? Okay, about right here. And then this one goes about right here. And this one goes about right here. And then again, you can move these around. Just click on the text and move them around so that it looks, or so the placement is correct and matches this example. All right, so that is it for dimensioning the flat hook.